Welcome to Rich Conversations. It's a weird time, isn't it? The phrase social distancing is now a massive term in our vocabulary. We've all been affected in different ways by the COVID-19 virus. And for me, I bartend twice a week, and the restaurants in Chicago are shut down. So now I kind of view my job or one of my jobs is just staying home in my apartment. That's my job, to stay out of the way so that other people can stay safe and healthy, and healthcare workers do their jobs. Everybody do their jobs. We got a role to play, and we're being asked to just stay at home, right? So I've just been in my apartment being a patriot. I have plenty of things I can work on, so I've been doing that. My third book, Primary Ponderings, comes out in May, we're planning. So I've been working on promoting that. By the way, you can follow the book's Instagram handle at Primary Ponderings. What's great about this book is that it's really perfect for this time. It's all about positive art, positive philosophy, and personally, it's really kept me centered. Like going back and reading it, it's been a tool, and it confirms and it helps guide me for the right thoughts and behavior to have during a time like this. And because of a time like this, we're retooling Rich Conversations and the questions. Typically, I meet with Chicagoans one-on-one at their favorite coffee shop or restaurant in their neighborhood, but now we're going to do video chats. And honestly, I'm really interested to see how my fellow Chicagoans are doing, and I'm curious about how they're spending their time. Today we'll chat with Maggie Aravena. She's a landscape architect here in the city. You can follow her at LandArcType. Let's begin. All right, so we have Maggie here. Okay, Maggie, how are you doing during the situation right now?
I am I am okay.
Yeah, you're doing
I
okay?
am going. I think the question I've been getting a lot is how are things going? And I say they're going.
Yeah,
They're
we're going.
fine. That it's just it is what it is. Um I have been on, I guess, quarantine longer than most people because we've been working from home since last Tuesday. So it has now been over a week of just staying home and like not seeing anyone really.
What's the Yeah, I see on like social media, people will be like day 10, and I'm trying to calculate how long I've been doing it. Let's see. So, the last time I went outside was last week Friday, and it's Thursday now. But the time before that was the Tuesday. I think that's the Tuesday you're referring to. I got
Yes, so
groceries.
that right. hmm
And then I really was on lockdown like Sunday, starting that Sunday.
Like last
So I guess
Sunday
like
or like two Sundays ago.
2 Sundays ago.
Oh, okay.
I
So
don't
not
know.
so
The
so
days are starting
longer.
to blur together. I don't really know
Oh,
anymore.
they definitely are. I realized how much they are when I was in bed trying to fall asleep, and then in my head popped someone's comment on like a Facebook post that I saw, and it said something about it being Tuesday. I was like, it is not Tuesday.
Mhm.
And my phone was too far, so I asked Alexa what day it was, and it was in fact Tuesday.
Wait, what?
I legitimately thought it was Monday, like with every single cell in my body thought it was Monday, and it was definitely Tuesday, about to be Wednesday. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I had moments today where I thought it was Wednesday. I couldn't figure out if it was Wednesday or Thursday. And then I would check my calendar and it would say Thursday. And then I was like, well, maybe I better check a different calendar. And I like, you check
Just
it?
in case.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how would you say you normally spend your time in Chicago?
So normally I have my dog here now. So normally I get up in the mornings. I kind of get ready for the day, like half ready. I take her outside to go do her business downstairs. And then I come back, get ready, and then I walk to work because I work pretty close by, and then I hang out at work for
Mm-hmm.
9 hours or however long, and then I walk home, and then I hang out, and then I take my dog out, and then hang out some more, and then
Yeah.
I go home, and then I just like do the rest of my day, and that's about it. I mean, on a normal day, it's not like I'm out and about all day either,
Yeah, but what
but
do you
I
like to
get
do for
more
fun?
like
And like
human interaction.
yeah, yeah. What things do you do for fun when you're in the city?
Um, Walk around quite a bit. I go to parks, obviously, as a landscape architect. I enjoy to kind of explore all of the wonderful parks that are around the city, the lakefront, because I live close by. You know, hang out with friends out in the city, restaurants, bars, stuff that I obviously am not doing today.
Yeah, so what's your routine like now that you're social distancing?
Uh, you know what? I thought it was going to be a little bit harder. My job is pretty social. We collaborate quite a bit, like in person. So I thought it was going to be a lot harder to like want to get up in the morning and do
Hmm.
work. It hasn't been terribly bad. I think the hardest thing is it's been uncomfortable. But for the most part, I just get up in the morning, take my dog out for a quick walk, get back. I work, but now it's just like it's kind of sporadic work. Like unless I have a conference call, there's nothing really like methodical about how I'm working or like how long I'm working. I'm not necessarily working, like 9 to 5 or 6 or whatever. I'm kind of just working throughout the day and on the weekends and
So
trying to
is
like be as productive as possible and having a really hard time at it, which means work has now been kind of just bleeding into like every single hour of the day.
so you typically wouldn't work from home, right?
Not really, unless it was something that was like super pressing that I just wasn't able to
Yeah.
get done in the office. But no.
So is your work, are you like taking on new projects or like what's kind of going through the company's mind right now?
Well, thankfully, I work now at a pretty large company that it's a corporation. So we encompass sort of the whole spectrum in building design and just generally, so like from construction through design. And we have like a concrete company, and we have a windows company, and we have like all of these different companies and groups underneath like a big umbrella. So, I think it's been a lot less hard on us because we're such a large corporation, and we haven't seen any layoffs or anything like that. And it just the diversity of our income is a lot larger than like any of the other companies I've worked at where it's just landscape architecture,
Okay.
or just design. But at the same time, we still have had quite a few projects that are starting to shut down, just because, construction sites now
Hmm.
are starting to get shut down, or like they'll have to minimize the amount of people that they have on site at any moment,
Okay.
which means that on our side, the design side, things are also slowing down,
Hmm.
because clients now are worried that, that the economy is going to tank and
Yeah.
that they won't be able to spend the money that we're planning on spending for them later.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of touch and go. And I think everyone is kind of just like, it was funny today. My coworker was like, this feels like the mood is just like the shrug emoji, like the constant shrug emoji is just
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah, does it?
everyone's mood. It's just like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. I could be sick right now, or a project might die tomorrow, or
Yeah.
like everything's kind of like up in the air,
Uh-huh.
which is a really hard way to work, and it's a really hard way to like live generally,
Yeah.
um, because we're still having to be, and obviously like my situation is so much better than a lot of other people's situations, but at the same time, like we're still having to be as productive as we were during our normal situations, But now, like, the way that I'm working and the pressures around us makes it so much harder to be just as productive.
Mhm.
So it's just, I think it's difficult for everyone in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. What's something new you're doing or feeling that you've experienced that's surprised you?
Um, so a new thing I'm doing is that's been a ton of fun that I actually hadn't done in a really long time is I'm working out, but I'm dancing again, which I haven't done that in forever.
Okay.
So I just like found some dance videos online and learned the routine, and now like that's my workout. Just 'cause I like working out, but I like doing it at the gym and like kind of doing that there. And it doesn't
Okay.
necessarily like pump me up, and it doesn't like it's not like a mood thing for me.
Hmm.
Whereas like dancing and the music and all of that, it helps sort of like lift my spirits, and it gets my blood pumping, and it does all these things. And it just gets me in like a better state of mind. Um, and also, just a new thing that I've been feeling is just it's crazy when you are forced to be alone.
Hmm.
Like all of the things that like come up as a person, like emotionally.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but I've realized because it's not like this is my first time being alone, right? Like it's not the first time
Right.
that we've all been alone with our thoughts or whatever. It's just now kind of forced upon you. And
Yeah.
there's no like getting away from it, right? There's no like actually I'm gonna put that away and go hang out with my friends.
I'm confronted by that all the time now.
Right, right. So now you kind of have to like live with it. And but I've realized now like how much uh I guess just like general growth I've done. Like you don't really know how much personal and like emotional growth you've done until you're kind of confronted with something. I feel like, and so it has really helped now to like being confronted with that, knowing all of the things that like I've, all of the things that have happened to me just like in the last couple of years and how I'm dealing with it now. It's just like night and day. Like
Really?
I'm handling it so much better than I would have probably even 3 months ago, honestly. Like I thought it was almost like a fear that I was like, it was more the fear that I wasn't going to be able to be alone for this long. And then
Okay.
when I was confronted with it, I was like, oh, wait, like it's not that bad. Like I'm actually not, I'm actually handling it a lot better than I thought I would.
Well, let's
So
hope that a
that
lot
was
of people
surprising.
feel that same way. Yeah.
I hope
I,
so.
I hope so. Okay, you mentioned that you've been dancing more. What music have you been listening to most since social distancing?
Um, there's a couple. So for my like productive time or my
Oh, so we got
pretending.
different types.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah, for sure, yeah. For my like productive time, I can't listen to stuff that has a lot of words to it or that like
Sure.
I would sing along to or because it just takes up a part of my brain that I need for my productive time.
Gotcha.
So I listen to Tosh Sultana. I don't know if you know her at all. And it's mostly
You now.
instrumentals.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of instrumentals, and she's amazing. And it's kind of funky, and it's pretty cool. So I listen to that when I need to just like be productive or mellow out. I also listen to her when I'm like drawing and stuff. Um, for when I'm just like hanging out, I listen to a lot of Latin music. I think just because of
Hmm.
like the movement and all of that. I can't listen to like sad stuff right now or like slow stuff.
Okay.
That's too
Okay.
much. Too
All
much.
right.
Yeah.
When this passes, we don't know when that is, but what are you most excited to experience again in the city?
Um, God, I think just like literally just walking around and seeing people, just like the hustle and bustle of the city, it's just
Yeah.
everyone talking and everyone hanging out and enjoying the sights and the lake and the park and all of those things.
What's one restaurant you'd love to just go visit and eat at right now?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if I have one. I don't go out a lot to like restaurants specifically.
So this is
Um,
a good time for you then. I'm kind of in that same boat. I
this
don't go out a
is,
lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is. Yeah, I mostly just want to like go to my friend's house and because we do a lot of like dinner parties or like brunches.
Hmm.
I feel like that would be my like restaurant that I would want to
Oh,
go
okay.
to. Just like
Yeah.
a friend's house to go eat and hang out.
Yeah. So we're gonna switch it up a little bit now. We're gonna get a little bit more introspective. And
Okay.
this question I have, okay? It's a big
Okay.
question. Describe the best day of your life.
Best day of my life. Oh man, I know I saw that question. I don't, do you have a best day of your life? Like that's so
I do, yes.
specific.
I have two best. I have a
You have
best day of my
two?
life and
Oh
a
my gosh.
second best day of my life.
Uh, I don't know that I have like only two. I have some really good ones. I mean, there was one just because of what it meant, not necessarily because it was an amazing day, but just because of what the day meant. Was when I moved out to Chicago. Just because it was like the culmination of 2 years of looking for a job and trying to find the right one and just like that being such a big decision for me and then having it like come to fruition was really great.
So you came to Chicago and just that day and that just experience of like, oh my gosh, this is
Of
really
like
happening.
buying a one-way ticket, which
Wow.
was crazy. I've never done that before.
Wow, yeah.
So that was a great day. I think the another really great day that was like an actually really, really amazing day was, and I don't even know, I honestly don't even know what exact day it was, but I went to visit my family last year in California and we decided to go out to Lake Tahoe and we went and stayed at a friend's cabin for the weekend. And that day, it was literally like every single part of it was just so much fun. We laughed like we haven't laughed in years. And, we just like enjoyed each other's company and we didn't really worry about anything about like structure or like an itinerary or like what were we going to eat or anything like that. We just kind of had a ton of fun as a family and it was a pretty great day. And we were in a cabin like in the woods, so there was like no cell reception, nothing.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like us being this really like loving group of people and yeah, it was
Hmm.
pretty great. I would say that was up there, definitely.
That's up there.
Yeah.
What's your favorite travel experience?
Um, you know, I haven't traveled a ton outside of the States. And unfortunately, or fortunately, the travel that I have been doing has been for like conferences and stuff. So, but it has always been to a new city, which has been a ton of fun. And I've gotten to do a lot of really cool stuff with just like hundreds of people that I've met throughout the years and that I only get to see once a year.
Okay.
And we just like really enjoy each other's company and we get to talk about all of the things that we love, which is landscape architecture and all of like the nerdy things
So a
for
bunch
like a
of
week.
landscape,
So it's
yeah,
a
landscape
bunch of
architects.
landscape architects getting
Yeah.
together and just
And
like
everybody just
being nerds.
understands what they're going
Oh,
through and
it's so
yeah.
great. It's so great. So I get to do that once a year and it's so much fun. And yeah, so it's not like travel related necessarily, but just like getting to do that with a bunch of people and yeah, and just like commiserating over all of the good and bad of our
Yeah,
profession.
sure. What's the most memorable scent in your life?
Probably my family home. I don't know,
Okay.
it just smells like my home. I don't know. It's I can't even describe to you what it smells like.
Honestly, it's hard to describe scents, I think.
Yeah.
especially if they're
It
very,
just smells like
you
home.
know? Yeah. Do you have a memorable sound in your life?
Hmm. I don't know, the rain. Sometimes like I just hear like you hear it and I feel like it sounds different wherever you are, but it's always this like comforting sound of like nature. And I guess just because of what I do,
Hmm.
like those nature sounds are really appealing to me. Um, Even though I really don't like the rain, but just like the sound of the rain, it just is like this, yeah,
Are you
this
someone
comforting
who
thing.
falls asleep well with rain outside?
Yeah, I mean, I could fall asleep with anything, but uh, but yeah, I would for sure fall asleep with the rain outside. Yeah.
So this one I'm really curious to ask more people about. What's the most influential book you've ever read?
Um, Influential book. I think that it it kind of depends. I'm actually really reading a really good book right now. Um,
Good time to read
the
books.
Yeah, well, yeah. The year of, I believe it's the year of magical thinking, and it's Joan. Oh my God, I'm totally, yeah, Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking.
Okay, cool.
It's a book. It's actually a book about grief, so it's not super. It's not supposed to be super uplifting, but it
Mhm.
kind of is. And it just it. I'm not gonna ruin it for people, but it's a memoir of when she of how she dealt with the loss of her husband. But obviously, it's not like I've gone through that.
Mhm.
But just the way that she writes about it, and um, there's like comedy and certain sort of you can kind of relate to it even if you haven't gone through it, and it's really interesting like reading that now with how much you are. I feel like at least for me, you're kind of faced with like everyone's mortality right now.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
it's been a really good book, and I'd say right now it's pretty yeah, it's a pretty good read for right now for me.
Yeah. I recently read I recently read oh my gosh, this is so I don't know. It's called Being Mortal by
Okay.
Atal Gawande, and it's about like facing mortality. And this was like I finished it like a week before like in the U.S. everything started to get kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um, and so he's this doctor and he writes about caring for the elderly and like people that are like dying and facing that and empathizing with those individuals. So he talks about the history of caring for the elderly and then nursing homes and then assisted living and just like that whole thing. And it's crazy because this is the most, that's like one of the most vulnerable populations right now. And it's just like
Right.
weird reading that book. And I'm like, oh man.
I know, right? Like it's similarly to the one I'm reading. It's yeah, it's one of those books that it's like, why am I reading this right now? But also
I can't tell if
it
it's
helps. I don't
relevant
know.
or like inappropriate, you know?
Right.
Do you have a film that's influenced you quite a bit?
No, I'm not a huge. Every time I say this, people like scoff at me. I'm not a huge film person. Like I love watching movies, but I'm not like a movie buff at all. Like I don't know, I just kind of watch whatever is on, and it doesn't ever really leave a huge impression. I mean, there's obviously great movies that I've watched um, that
I,
are just cinematically great, but I can't say that they've like touched my heart in any way.
I'm the same way, but that's why I'm asking this question so I can get answers from people. Give
Yeah,
suggestions.
yeah, like I have so many friends that quote movies like left and right, and I could have seen that movie 10 times and I still will not get the reference. Like I don't absorb movies that way.
I'm embarrassed that I can't remember the movies that I've watched. So I think that's a big reason why I don't watch movies much. Is like I'm embarrassed that I don't remember them. You know?
No, I love going to movies and I love watching movies
Going
and
to
I will
movies is
watch
great.
them
Yeah,
and I
I just don't
have
remember it.
no shame that I have so many more important things to keep in my brain
I
that
suppose.
I just don't. Whatever.
What's something about you that few people know or understand?
Um, oh man, are we gonna get real personal here?
That's your choice.
Probably, I've probably um how much I struggle with insecurities and like not being super like having to really struggle with being confident in my work or like in the leadership um, roles that I'm in and like really being assertive because I am. And so that's the thing is that like anyone who knows me outside of like my core group of friends sees me as this person that's like super assertive and has all of these roles that I volunteer for and I can go into an interview and negotiate my salary and do all of these things, but then like at the end of the day that takes a ton of work for me and it's definitely not
Like
something that comes naturally.
work as in courage or
Yeah,
okay.
courage and like preparation and like beforehand of
Hmm.
like of like really sitting down with myself and like almost walking myself through that process and until I feel comfortable enough to do it in that moment. So it's not something that just like comes out naturally.
Okay.
There's a ton of prep work and like talking myself up that I have to do sort of in the background before I do any of those things.
But isn't that important for people to know or understand because people only see like the results and and so they think, oh, like maybe she's just that way naturally and she's assertive and she does that. And what they don't see is like you were saying, the prep work behind it and the courage and the practice that it takes to get to that point. I think that's interesting, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely have been making a point to be more, especially when I'm speaking to like students or anyone. Like if I'm doing, I did a talk last fall at our national conference and about basically like the importance of empowering women and the importance of being sort of the next step of mentorship and why we all need to help women sort of overcome this obstacle, if you will, of of not feeling like they're enough or whatever that might be. And so I've been, I think, a lot more intentional about being really open with those struggles and like telling people and especially younger professionals that like it is okay to not be super confident and it is okay to not be like not know all the answers
Hmm.
and to be vulnerable and like ask for help and that it doesn't come naturally to everyone. It does to some people.
Hmm.
And it's not like I'm an introvert, so if I was an introvert it would probably be even more difficult, but at the end of the day, like I think it takes work for everyone. And so I think if we're all just a little bit more honest about those things that like the process of it, it becomes a lot more relatable and attainable.
Hmm. Yeah. On a related note, can you remember a time that you decided what kind of person you were going to be?
Every day.
Yeah?
Yeah, every day. I generally speaking, obviously, like I know you're saying like more, I guess more like
Yeah, but the
broadly,
questions are
but
very ambiguous, so
but like I feel like every day I have to be like, okay, this is
that's the
because I
better
feel
answer,
like
I think.
because I feel like you struggle with different things every day, right? And
Yeah.
so uh, you know, uh, recently, I'll say that the last couple of months of last year were really rough for me emotionally, and there's just a lot of personal stuff going on. And one of the things that really helped, that actually one of my really good friends brought up, was, kind of one step at a time, like just do the next right thing instead of trying to sort of like take it all at once, right? Of like, this is what I want my life to be. And like sometimes that, at least for me and the way that I function, like that's
Mm.
so daunting and it's so overwhelming.
That sounds like my
Um,
experience every single day.
yeah, it's like too much to like take it all, and
Yeah.
even with how, and maybe that's why I've been doing a lot better with this situation. 'Cause I'm just like, like what is the next thing that I just need to do? Like, I have a conference call tomorrow in the morning. Like, what is the next thing? I have to take Dolly out for a walk. Instead of like, oh my God, there's how many people dying, and like there's
Yeah.
thousands of, and we don't know what they're going to shut down tomorrow, or if there's going to be enough hospital beds or whatever. Instead of like taking all of that on, I'm just like, okay, like one step at a time, and like who am I going to be within that period, and how am I going to respond to like what life is throwing at me. I feel like that's what's worked for me.
That's great. I love that. After this pandemic situation passes, whenever it may be, what's a positive result that you imagine could emerge from all of this?
For like the general public and like
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, like
um
society, the world, general public. Yeah.
there's a I think just generally for people to like be more aware of the effects that they have. I've been thinking a lot about this whole like stay at home order, and how, and like the all those graphics that have come up about why you should be staying home, because
Hmm.
of like, like one person then turns into like this many people, and then it kind of just
Yeah.
sort of like what you're, um, like sort of that network of uh, social contact.
Hmm.
And so I've been thinking a lot about that with reference to just like democracy in general, and the effects um, of of society, right? Of like, if you sort of take that same concept of why disease spreads so fast and so quickly, that it's just through like contact and through like
Hmm.
being together with people. If you take that on to democracy, and like the effect that one person has on society as a whole, and why a vote matters, even if you think it doesn't matter. Yeah, just like our effect as one person
Yeah.
in society as a whole, you really get to see that in this, for better or for worse, obviously. You really get to see that in a pandemic like this. Um, yeah, obviously, I think, just like generally of just being okay with like being with yourself, right? Whether that's like by yourself or with your family, and just like being there and being present and like being. I think
Hmm.
society has gotten so sort of preoccupied with distractions and instant
Yeah.
gratification and all of these things, that this, I think, has like forced everyone to kind of slow down
Yeah.
and, yeah, like live with each other, or like with themselves.
Those are two really fantastic ideas. Thank you for sharing those. I appreciate that. And thanks for being on this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always fun to talk through these things, especially now. I who else am I going to talk to but God?
That's my strategy. Who else do people got to talk to, you know? Yeah. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Rich Conversations. Again, you can follow Maggie at Land Archetype. Remember, we're all in this together. Stay positive and wash your hands.